Okay, so we've been talking about real love all week because it's Valentine's Day week. I've learned the most important thing for me personally is the love that you have for yourself, because then you've got plenty left over to spread around. But where do you get it? You cannot buy it at the CVS or Walgreens for that matter. So counselor and life coach Dr. Jada Jackson is here to share steps to unconditional love where you get more than you give. And I really believe that. Good morning.
Good
it's so nice
morning.
to have you
Good
here.
morning. I like that. You get more than you give.
Well, yeah, because what I found with unconditional love is that it's extremely empowering. It makes you feel good about yourself, so it builds that self-love.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And you don't need anything from anyone else, and therefore you're not constantly seeking for validation and affirmation, and you're not on the pursuit for someone to give you something because you already have it, right?
Exactly. So I'm going to give you just a little secret. This is a little trick that I do. If I get my feelings hurt or something like that, put my hand on my heart, put my hand on the other person's imaginary heart, and I say, "This hurt me, but I'm sending you love." So that's
I love it.
And
let me tell you why I love that, because as a cognitive behavioral therapist, what I believe is what you think is what you feel is what you do. What you just did was a cognitive behavioral therapy tool, which is called reframe. Who knew? And absolutely, Jane did. So it was a reframe. You were able to look at it and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, but I'm going to reverse it and reframe it and give it right back to you. I love that.
Who knew? Okay, so let's go through a couple of scenarios where you're going to tell us how to love unconditionally. Let's start with someone who has really hurt you in a love relationship, because I think that's where this often comes up.
Absolutely.
Someone leaves you. Maybe it's a lover, an ex-husband. They leave, maybe even an ex-husband for another woman.
Yes, and
that hurts.
That really hurts. And here's the thing with that, Jane, because we don't really understand it in this context, but betrayal is one of the most difficult emotions to overcome. So the only way to address that and deal with it is to, number one, do your work, but number two, the F word. Forgive.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Forgive.
I was afraid. You were
I'm going to say something else.
You scared me there.
Yeah. But we have to forgive.
Yeah.
And people have the same reaction. They're like, forgive? Oh, no. That person has to have some sort of retribution for what they've done. There needs to be a punitive measure taking place in order for me to feel better about it. And if they don't pay for it, then you can forget about it. But the truth is, when we forgive, we're at peace.
You're exactly right. Okay, let's go to unconditional love for a parent who was absent during your childhood.
That's me. I can actually raise my hand on that one. And the
I think a lot of people can identify with that.
Absolutely. And the pain of abandonment, right? Because really what we start to address is you rejected me, you abandoned me, you don't love me. And that happened to me when I was 10 years old. And believe it or not, it carried over into all of my intimate relationships in life.
It does.
And
that's hard to forgive.
Exactly.
You think, wow, I've suffered my whole life because of this.
Because of you, because you didn't take care of your job. You had one job, and that was to be a father, and you didn't do it. And you couldn't do that, right? And so one of the things, my dad passed away a year and a half ago.
I'm sorry.
But one thing that I can definitely say is I'm at peace because I was able to forgive. I was able to say, Dad, I love you. I was able to let go. Absolutely. And it makes all the difference in the world when we take a different approach as opposed to the I can't forgive approach.
Okay, I want to say one last thing here. I think there's a biblical basis for the idea of unconditional love. You agree? Can you? You can explain it better than I can.
I do. Isn't God love? That's what we hear, right? God is love. But when we think about the agape love, I think in terms of when Jesus was on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them because they don't even know what they're doing. Forgive them because they know not what they do. That is the kind of grace that all of us need, right? We're not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Far from it.
Far from it. But when somebody else does something to us, it's us extending that same grace to them that we deserve ourselves.
That's a beautiful word, grace. I like that. I'd like to end with that. That's very, very nice. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Jane.
Pleasure to talk with you this morning. Thanks for sharing your tips with us.